Chairman, we have reached and passed beyond the global tipping point that we've been anticipating for decades. We are now living on a planet of environmental turmoil. The warnings have more or less been ignored for decades. The human impacts have continued to accumulate. And when I look out in this chamber, every country is grappling with this reality now. Australia with its huge floods, unprecedented floods this year. Pakistan, massive floods. The United States, intense drought in some parts of the country, massive floods in others. Poor countries in this chamber grappling with the highest food prices in history. There isn't a country in this planet that is escaping the reality that brings us here. But we have been unable to even turn the direction slightly over the last 20 years. Let's face it, the juggernaut of the world economy surpasses our ability even to deflect it, to save ourselves and the planet for our children. The world economy is growing now at about 4.5% per year because of the dramatic successes of China, of India, of other emerging economies. And we salute the progress that that brings. But let's be clear, the world economy is $70 trillion. It has increased by fourfold in the last 40 years. The resource use is exploding. Food prices are soaring. Water supplies are shrinking in every country that needs fresh water, the North China Plains, the American Midwest, the Indo-Gangetic Plains, hundreds of millions of people's lives at stake. Oceans are being acidified. That means all of our oceans, every single person on this planet, suffers the consequence of a dying ocean system because of the carbon dioxide that is reducing the pH of the oceans. Unbelievable that humanity has the ability to do this. But we're doing it because we're so good at our production processes right now. Oil supplies scarce, oil prices well above $100 a barrel and staying high, and more climate disasters than we know what to do with. Every year, another one-in-a-century event coming every 5 or 10 or 15 years. We are kidding ourselves, ladies and gentlemen. We are kidding ourselves to think that we are anywhere in control of this. I salute Commissioner Potočnik. Europe is the only region that has made some serious plans about this. But Europe is a modest part of the world economy, and this is running away with us right now. Fundamentally, we have a global ethics crisis. A global ethics crisis. Because while we need to find a path of sustainable development, we are scrambling instead for resource and advantage. We are using fossil fuels at the maximal rate we can. We are using force, often military power, and obviously political persuasion to grab scarce resources. And we are abandoning the world's poor. I visit poor countries every week or two. The poor are seeing rise of food prices they cannot support to sustain their children and their families. The world does not care, believe me. We can't get any attention at all to this grim reality on the ground. Basically, within our societies and across our societies, the rich feel that they can shelter themselves, and the poor are just going to be pushed aside because this is a scramble for resources, after all. I'm sorry to say it, but this is the arithmetic of what we stand in front of. My own country, the United States, is absolutely not participating in solutions. We're going backward. And if we look for unanimity on these issues, we will not find it. The oil industry in the United States is the single most politically powerful force, and one can say that in dozens of countries around the world. There will be no breaking this juggernaut until we get to the global ethics that we need, because raw power so far is carrying us over the cliff. What do we need, ladies and gentlemen? First, we do need a technological roadmap. If we simply expand on the current technologies, we are finished. We don't have a technological roadmap. We don't even have the makings of a technological roadmap right now. This is what we really need. But I can tell you how the United States can't even write down its own plan because politics prevents it. You will not find an administration plan. You will not find a congressional plan. You will not find an American plan because the oil lobby has stopped it from happening. And the whole planet pays the consequence of this. Let's be clear about what's at stake. Second, we need a global carbon levy. Clear as can be, we need money for three purposes: to help poor countries to adapt, to help poor countries to adopt new low-carbon energy systems, and to help fund research and development. There is no public money despite all the promises. The rich countries promised $100 billion by 2020. You go try to find it. I'm a specialist in finance. I'll tell you what the present discounted value of that promise is right now. It's zero. It doesn't exist. Now we're told behind the scenes, oh, that should be voluntary. That should be private investment. Because in the US Congress, they don't want to pay for any other country. So let's be honest with the stakes that we're facing right now. We need a levy that is assessed country by country whether they want to pay it or not, because the whole world has to take shared responsibility. This can't be voluntary. Poor people will die, middle-class people will die, the rich also will in the end, because they also need food and water. And in the end of the day, they'll find out they don't have all the power that they think they do, because there will be more uprisings and more unrest, and all that paper wealth won't save them either. Third, we need regional cooperation, because we're not going to get global solutions so fast. Europe is the best role model on this planet for this. It's the only place that has done detailed plans in a regional, cooperative way, actually with financing behind it within the region. But Africa, Southeast Asia, South Asia, have to build regional scale infrastructure and solutions for low carbon and sustainable technologies. And this cannot be done country by country. It has to be done regionally. And finally, ladies and gentlemen, we need a global knowledge network, which does not exist right now. The reason I say this is that these issues are too complicated, with all due respect, to leave to the lobbyists, to leave to the politicians, to leave to the media, because we require major advances in know-how. We have leading scientists all over the world who do not have access to this room, whose views are not being heard, whose advice is not being listened to by governments who are in the hands of the lobbies. My commitment at the Earth Institute is to help to create a worldwide knowledge network with experts in your countries as well. Because without that, we're doomed. Our governments are not organized to solve these problems. Our politicians have a short time horizon. But the world goes on, and the juggernaut of world resource use will do us in unless we get serious. Thank you very much.